afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Akron's hottest and fastest growing show, 3-3 to go. I'm your host, Hank Forrester, coming to you live from Stakeout Studios atop the bridge overlooking Acme number 1. Today, we're going to discuss the wonderful world of Hollywood. Today's episode, guys, is brought to us by Acme Fresh Markets. Hold on, let me hit pause over here. I need a soundboard engineer if you're looking for an internship. Folks, it's the grilling season, right? Did you guys see the steaks I did about a week ago? And you know, they were tender, fantastic, and it's perfectly priced meats. All that I acquired right here at Acme number 1. Now, on top of that, right now, it's Family Pack Savings Week. You see all the big buttons all over the place, okay? So just look for the logo on items that are especially priced to provide instant savings for your family. They package them together. It's like 3 for the price of 2 type discounts. Angel, my neighbor, was just in here earlier. She walked out with 2 grocery carts full of stuff that were all family pack items. All right, so make sure you check that out. And also, make sure you utilize that acmestores.com to get your online orders in, okay? And you guys get to see that firsthand. And speaking of the grilling season, one of our other sponsors, Stray Dog Food Carts, they've been serving the Akron area now since 2009. And during that time, they've gone from 1 original cart to 2 to 3 to now a stationary location inside the North Side Marketplace. They're right next to DBA. If you haven't been there, it's fantastic. Have you been there yet?
It's one of my favorite spots.
Dude, it is.
Yeah.
It's like, where did this come from?
I know. Akron Creamery, have you been there?
Not yet.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay.
You need to check it out. It's good.
All right. So on top of that, what I love about it is it's all Akron kids doing Akron things.
Right.
You know, and I've been loving that mantra lately. Stop in, say hi to Charlie, and don't forget that they also run Akron Pickle out of there as well. And it's his food is fantastic.
I tried that at the Rib Fest last year for the first time.
Okay.
That was amazing.
Okay, all right. Folks, it was great to sit down with Tom from Cycling Solutions a couple weeks ago. If you're in need of bike repairs, bike adjustments, special fittings, initial bike setups, or coaching and counseling, Tom's your guy. Cycling Solutions, they can help you with all of that. Tom's expertise and process is second to none in the Akron area, and I encourage you to reach out to him on either Facebook or online, or just give them a call. As you can see, I have made their phone number bigger. It's 330-338-4307 right here on this little wonderful sponsorship placard. See how we're labeling these out now?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Isn't that cool?
Very organized.
It's very organized, but it's still cheesy like we like to be.
Exactly.
But at the same time, it's organized, right?
Very Akron. It's not too polished,
It's
but it's just polished enough.
It's very Akron.
Yeah.
I like that. We'll give that one. We'll give that an air horn. So on top of that, we've got. I guess we'll consider it breaking news, right? So here we go. We've just added another sponsor to the 3-3 to go platform. So let's go with Bazinga.
Bazinga.
And let's go ahead and flip that sign right there at the end. So you could place your ad there, but no longer. We're now being sponsored by Nick's Landscaping, which is located. What did you say? I guess it'd be Norton, Barberton, Wadsworth area. So they're on Wadsworth Road, right at the corner where Barber intersects. Okay, Nick's Landscaping, typical landscaping company, but not typical results, right? So they do everything that a normal landscaping company does, but they're just really good. I've recommended them over the years to several of my friends who they've gotten all kinds of different backyard patio projects done. They've gotten their mulch done. They've gotten their regular maintenance taken care of, and they also do snow plow as well throughout the course of the winter. And there was some fantastic drone footage watching Nick's crews getting ready to go out and handle that big storm that we had, which they handled it better than Akron did. So there's that. We're real excited. So as you can see now, we've got a full docket of sponsors, but we're looking to add one more, possibly 2, and we'll be doing that in the very near future. So if you're interested in sponsoring the 3-3 to go show, we'd be happy to have you. We've got room. And the nice thing about our sponsorship is you get local advertisement to the people that are watching locally, right? So yay for that. Well, that's enough of that stuff. We just paid the bills. All right.
So now keep the lights on.
I gotta keep the lights on. Gotta keep the lights on. So right now I want to welcome our guests. Okay, so I'm gonna say from, even though you're your own people. All right,
enough.
so we got Evan from Preview Review,
Thank you.
and we got Nick from Does It Suck?
Thank you for
All
having
right,
me.
so thank you both. If you're out there watching right now, just give us a sound check. Let us know that you can hear us okay. Oh, wait, here we go. Judy is already making a comment over here, and she's talking about, I believe, Nick's Landscaping. She says, cool, I know of their work. They're a great company. They're one of the best. All right, so
Awesome.
How about that? We got a new sponsor. We've already got someone reviewing it. All right. So right now we're going to start, guys. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this show. I've had it circled for a while.
Same.
Okay. So we're going to move this a little closer to you.
Sure.
Okay. And move you guys a little closer to your mics. All right. So first of all, tell us your stories. Okay. What I love that term, Akron kids doing Akron things. Okay. So take us from the beginning, and not in like the chunk style from Goonies, okay? And when I was in 5th grade, okay? Take us from the beginning. So Evan, you go ahead and start us off. Give us your Akron story.
Akron story. Well, I've pretty much lived in Akron all of my life. I've only ever moved twice. I lived in the same house for almost about 18, 19 years. And we lived near... near a middle school by the name of Miller South, which is where I went to middle school as well.
Nice.
And
My daughter's there right now.
awesome.
Okay.
And what program is she in?
She's a dancer.
Nice. I was in the singing program.
Okay.
It was awesome. After that, the logical step was Firestone for high school, which I really enjoyed. And now I'm currently at the University of Akron studying sociology and criminology, and with one more semester left to go.
Excellent. Good job there. Nick?
Yeah, so I've also lived in Akron my entire life. I was born and raised in North Hill, went to Forest Hill, Jennings, and then obviously North High School. Shout out to all the Vikings out there watching. And I think that really helped mold me into the person that I am now, just because North was always known as being like a melting pot of different cultures, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. So it really opened up my eyes to a lot of different things that I wouldn't normally try, wouldn't normally be exposed to, and I think that really helped me expand my horizons into trying new things, which led to me then reviewing them, which then led to me creating a page based on reviewing things. So I think that whole upbringing at North and that surrounding really helped mold who I am.
Okay. All right, cool. So you're North Hill. Where'd you grow up, Evan?
Kenmore.
All right, so Kenmore, okay. Which it's interesting because Kenmore's got a little secret spot that I go to and I DJ every once in a while. It's a place called Old Cafe 97. And it's right on Kenmore Boulevard. And if you've never been there, you're like driving through like these warehouses. It's like all warehouses. And then all of a sudden there's this place that kind of looks like an older fashioned bed and breakfast looking building. And you go in and it's like gorgeous.
It really is.
And then you go in the backyard, and it's like this little oasis, like in the middle of Kenmore. So, Old Cafe 97, plug for you guys. I'm going to be working with them, DJing some specialty events for them over the course of the summer. All right, so guys, when did well, first of all, just so you know, there's other things going on right now. Typically, when we do a bigger show, I go ahead and Chris, hello, Chris. Chris said hi. Yes, we're broadcasting. We're live from the bridge at Acme number 1. So there you go. But right now, usually we got a whole bunch of things going on. We've got an actual baby shower taking place off to our left. And so big shout out to Amanda. Amanda's having a baby boy in June. So Amanda, congratulations to Amanda. All right. So she's waving right now. All right. Point being, there's so much things that are always taking place in Acme, and we love that community for that reason. So let's talk about movies, guys. That's why we're here, okay? So how old were you when you remember, what was the first time that you remember seeing a movie?
I'll take this one first. My mom says that the first movie I ever saw was Mulan in the theater. I personally don't remember that because I was too young. The first movie I actually remember was Bambi when I was 5 years old, and it scarred me for life because I saw it with my mom. And for obvious reasons. So since then.
But that's the classic Disney movie theme. I mean, that's how they operate, right? They kill off
the father or the mother dies.
a parent. They kill off a parent to start the movie. I mean,
Right.
what's up?
My appreciation, or my first movie, I don't really ever remember what my first movie was, but I remember when I first started falling in love with movies.
Okay.
And that was with The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. And I remember going to see that movie and not knowing what to expect and just getting completely blown away. And then from that point on, seeing the technical aspects of movies, what makes them great, and that I can really pinpoint as my point of falling in love with movies.
Okay. So you two are, if I were to give us rankings on 1 to 100 in terms of movie knowledge and all that, I'm going to put both of you at 90. I'm at like a 40.
I think myself, I'd probably put it like a 75.
But I'm just establishing a point of reference as we go through this discussion today.
Right.
I'm just letting you guys know that the reason you're here today is because I look at the two of you as experts in terms of having a vast knowledge, especially compared to where I'm coming from. Okay, I'm just letting you know that up front. All right.
Okay.
I mean, I know I watch a lot of movies, and me and the kids and the wife, we enjoy movies, and I'm big into the series that we've all been a part of, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I just want to establish a basis for our viewing audience today that my knowledge is down here compared to these two. All right. So, what made you fall in love then with the big screen itself?
Well, he kind of already answered that. The movie that personally I fell in love with that actually made me love movies was Jurassic Park, which was my very first PG-13 movie that my dad let me see when I was about 9, 10-ish. And just like what Nick said, I just was amazed at how everything came together in just this masterpiece. All the visual effects, the acting, the storytelling, it just blew my mind that something could be that good. Okay.
Yeah, and then for me, I think a movie that had the most impact to me as far as a viewing experience would be The Wizard of Oz. Just because I remember seeing that movie for the first time and it being, the first movie that implemented color into the movie with its, being so magical, what they did in that movie with the set pieces. And it just blew me away that was actually happening in front of me. It wasn't CGI. There were costumes. It was just movie magic. And from that moment on, I just, what could the possibilities be? And just opened up my mind, and then it just really made me fall in love.
Right, and it's there's that revelation moment, right, where I believe it's right when it's when the house falls on her, and then all of a sudden they flip and it's color.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a snapshot into Hank's life over here. Okay, so. I'm older than you guys. We know this.
Yes.
Like a generation, okay? All right, so from that standpoint, I've got a little different view when it comes to the movies. So I wrote down 4 with 2 honorable mentions that were significant points of my movie life, okay? The first movie I saw in the theater was with my dad, and it was 1980, and it was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, man.
And it was awesome. The opening for forever, the opening sequence of that movie to me was the best opening sequence of any movie ever for years and years and years. That's changed, obviously, by this point. But I remember vividly, I'm 6 years old. I'm born in 1974. And seeing people melt on film for the first time ever, it was fascinating and horrifying at the same time, right? At 6 years old, right? So that's how I started my movie watching career in the theater, right? Okay. From there, the next time where my breath was taken away was that moment where John Hammond says, "Welcome to Jurassic Park," and it pans over, and I'm looking at there's dinosaurs. There's dinosaurs walking at me across the field. Yeah, and it's that music and the theme and John Williams, bam, and it was just wow. And it was what, 1992,
1993.
93. So I'm just finishing high school at that point, and it was just a breathtaking moment. I'm 18, 19 years old, and you're like, wow. Okay, so that's when kind of CGI kind of really got introduced to movies. Okay, right. The next moment for me was as Gandalf is coming over the hill, and he crests, and in front of him is the Shire. It's that first view of the Shire in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, because up to that point, I had been reading those books my whole life, right? And the only movies I had to show for that were those cheesy little cartoon Hobbit movies, which were fun and good, but it wasn't like
epic.
It wasn't like the Lord of the Rings should be, right? And then there's the Shire, and you're just like, wow, you see all the little hobbit holes across, and it was fantastic. And then at that point, we jump forward, and I'm watching with my kids now, and it's the first time I'm in Avatar. So you're seeing that you're in that first ever 3D, real 3D experience.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you're like 5 minutes, 10 minutes into the movie, and you see those little white things, and they're floating like this, and they're like all up in
Next
your
to
face.
you.
They're like all up in there.
I remember that as
Yeah,
well.
and so those are my, if you want to call my benchmarks in my movie life. Okay.
Right.
And then the one I cried the most ever at was E.T. You know, when E.T. died, and then when E.T. went to leave, it was like, it just ruined my life, okay? Because E.T. was leaving, okay? And then the first ever movie that I saw at home, where it was a beta. So before VHS, the VCRs were like this big, okay? And the tapes were about the size, almost the size of an 8-track. And it was the first Betamax movie that I saw, and it was the movie Gremlins. So I saw Gremlins at my house, and we were so like, we're like, this is incredible. We're like, watch this. And my brother had it, and he put the tape in, and he goes, watch, we can watch it. We own it. It's ours. We can do this. And that was when we had the rewind tape, the tape rewinders that would break the tape. 1 out of every 10 tapes, you would shatter a tape because it would be like. So that concludes my movie history, okay? All right. So at what point did you guys realize that you were more into movies than other people around you? We'll go with Nick first.
I would say I would go to a movie with a bunch of my friends, and after the movie, we would all be talking about it and like what we liked, and I would just critique the heck out of it. And I would be like, I didn't really like this part of it. I thought they could have done a little bit better than, and like my friends were like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, the way like the opening shot wasn't very cinematic and the shadows looked like, and I noticed like I was very, very critical, much more than my friends were. So at that point I was like, you know what? Maybe I have a problem.
And at the time you were like, oh, it's a problem. But then you realized, well, not really. It's kind of a gift.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Evan?
Great way to put it. I was going to say something similar to what he said, but honestly, and quite bluntly, it was at the point where my mom said, you're seeing way too many movies, when I'd only seen like 20, 25 in 1 year. And I'm like, no, that's kind of normal.
And no, it's not. And that's okay. And that's okay. I'll do the but-umchit. Which, in actuality, you and I talked about this before the show off the air. If it's your passion, it's your thing, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody's got a thing, whatever that is. Like for some guys, it's fishing. For some guys, it's the Browns. You look at, I got my new Acme.
Browns fan over
got my
here.
new Acme $5 shirt here. I like this one. It says dangerous zone, but it spells zone backwards because we got this guy named Odell Beckham Jr. now. So the point is, everybody's got a thing. Everybody's got a passion. And as long as you, just in moderation, right? I mean, as you got the funds and the resources to do it, then do it, right?
Exactly.
But at that point, you're doing this thing, and you're like, hey, I kind of like doing this. And then all of a sudden, you create this thing, and it's called the preview review, right?
Yeah.
So, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But so what, if you guys, you heard my little list. So if you want to, what is your little mini list of your favorite all-time movies over the years? And I know you got.
Yeah.
I could probably talk about movies for hours.
Sure.
So I condensed it into some of the most recent movies that really impacted me and like that I enjoyed the most. And it would definitely start off like we talked about Wizard of Oz and Dark Knight. But also Who Framed Roger Rabbit is really up there for me. A great Robert Zemeckis film, integrated, animation with live action. And I thought that was just brilliant, and I still love it to this day. Inception, any Christopher Nolan movie I really go crazy for.
Fantastic.
But Inception is really up there for me. I like those cerebral movies where I have to think and it's not really what it seems. Superbad is my favorite comedy of all time. It kind of came out right when I was graduating high school.
Mine's Wayne's World.
I'm
old.
I related to it with me and my friends because that's how they acted in Superbad is the way we acted in high school.
Okay.
So I just have loved that movie ever since. And there's like a newer movie coming out soon with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
That he has made with kids.
Was it Charlize Theron?
No, it's a different one.
Long Shot.
That's the one with Charlize Theron, but there's like one with 3 kids.
Oh, that's good. That's Good Boys.
Good Boys, yeah. And it reminds me of the kid version of Superbad, and I cannot wait.
Look forward to that too.
And also for like animation style movies, putting Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse in its own category, because I think that is phenomenal. I would say WALL-E is probably one of my favorite animated
WALL-E.
movies.
I love WALL-E because of its impact in terms of society.
Correct.
Message.
Yeah. And like the first half hour, 45 minutes, there is no dialogue in that movie.
Right.
It's just you watch this robot interact, and it's just fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and if you go into any Applebee's right now in America, you literally see Wall-E playing out. There's 10 people sitting at a table, and they're all in their phone.
Exactly.
They're all on their phone like this, you know?
With giant cups.
All right, Evan, you were going to...
So a few of my favorite movies. He mentioned quite a few of them. Jurassic Park, like I mentioned earlier, that's definitely one of my favorites. Something that is not mentioned a lot are a few movies. One is The Road, which is personally my favorite movie of all time because I love movies that deal with humanity and how humans would look at different situations when they were under the pressure. I love Gran Torino.
What's it called? The Rogue?
The Road.
Oh, The Road?
Yeah, it's
R-O-A-D?
Yeah, it's a book adaptation.
What year? Give me an idea.
I think around 2009, 2010.
Okay, all right.
Gran Torino, directed by Clint Eastwood, a fantastic film. But over the last few years, I've seen a few things that have just blown my mind. Hereditary, which came out last year, one of my favorite horror films of all time as of right now, scared the hell out of me. I absolutely love that film, and I'm looking forward to Ari Aster's next film. Ari Aster is the director of Hereditary. As for animation, last year there was a film called Isle of Dogs, which I thought was incredibly charming and very original. Highly recommended. But by far my favorite movie last year, at least, was Eighth Grade by Bo Burnham, and starring Elsie Fisher, I believe her name is. And it's a very personal story about a young girl who is just trying to fit in with eighth grade and going into high school. And I just related to it so much, and that's why I love it so much.
Okay. All right. So at some point, you guys had to get the idea that you could review a movie and that people would actually be interested in what you had to say.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about that journey. How did that happen?
You want to go first?
Oh, no, you.
Okay, so like I would go see a movie, then I would put like a little quick two sentence or 3-sentence review online, like, and people would react to it, and I would get a lot of feedback on that. And then I would go see a movie and I wouldn't say anything, and people would say, "Hey, where's your review on this? What did you think of this?" And I was like, "Oh, well, maybe people really care about what I have to say about this, so I should start reviewing more." And so then I saw a demand for it. So then I created a little channel on Facebook, and then it's just grown from there. It's not big by any means, but it's a great community of people who all have the same likes, I would say, or interests.
Okay.
And it's been great.
Okay, Evan?
I probably started, preview review didn't really come into the picture until about 4 or 5 years ago, but I've been reviewing movies for at least 9 years as of now. And originally it was kind of like what Nick said, a few sentences, just my overall thoughts and a little bit of a score, but then it grew upon that and then became paragraphs, and paragraphs became full pages of my thoughts on movies. And it wasn't until the point where I saw like a few online critics like Jeremy Johns or Chris Stuckman where I got inspired to go onto YouTube or go onto Facebook and actually project my thoughts out to people and reach a wider audience.
That's a really good point, because I do follow Jeremy Johns and I have Chris Stuckman's book. Chris Stuckman's actually from Stowe.
Yeah, I've met him in person.
And he's
amazing.
He's one of the best video or movie reviewers in the country.
Okay.
And I believe like their format really gave me confidence to be able to talk to people and be able to share my opinion without worry of backlash, or maybe it was a popular movie and I didn't really think so, but I still wanted to give my opinion out there. And I think that that world of online movie reviews has really opened up the world to other people and smaller reviewers like you and me to really be able to express our opinions.
All right, so how has social media helped you then in this process? So, before, obviously, what did you guys do before social media, and then how has it changed everything for you?
Well, before social media, I pretty much just shared it with my family, like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's cool, it's cute. Grow up, do something else with your life." But as it went on, it began to reach a wider array of people. When I was in high school at Firestone, I was actually part of the newspaper there, and I actually would put my reviews in it, and then everyone would walk up to me saying, "Hey, I really like your review in the newspaper." I'm like, "Really? Thank you."
Yeah, and then I think without social media, I don't think there would be this landscape of people being able to do what they're doing. I think that it's vital to what we do. I don't think that we would even be sitting here without social media.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's how I interact with people. Exactly. I mean, that's how I interact with everyone.
That is the show.
So it's really changed the way that we interact with people. I mean, if I wanted to, if there was no social media, I probably could, write for a newspaper or a magazine or something like that, but it just doesn't have the reach that it does now with the digital age. And even my job has a newsletter that they put out, and they asked me to write movie reviews for the newsletter that goes out every month. So
okay.
I do mine for the blog, and then I do a smaller, tailored down version for my job's newsletter. So it's actually really fun.
All right, so as we typically do on Three Thread to Go, we like giving stuff away here, so we're going to give something away. We've got a $25 Regal movie gift card right now to the person that answers the following question correctly. So here's your Three Thread to Go movie trivia, okay? So about, a month ago, Marvel came out, and Nick went to one theater, I went to another, and then we split screen reviewed the movie live together after the movie's conclusion, okay? It's about 14 minutes of footage, and in minute 13, my son, who had gone to see the movie with me, he said, "Dad, I have something to say." And he gave one of the best one-line movie reviews ever.
Yeah, it's like whenever you see a trailer and it has those one-line reviews on it, that's what it was.
So the question is, the first person to answer this question online, and we'll keep it open until someone answers the question correctly, what did my son say in the split screen critique that myself and Nick did live? So my son had a one-liner toward the end of that critique. What did he say? And if you quote it directly, you will get this Regal movie gift card. All right, so off we go with that. All right, so guys, when you get into your reviews, how do you compare? You got series and genres, directors, actors, actresses. What are some of the criteria you use? And when I say a series, I'm looking at Star Wars. I'm looking at Lord of the Rings. I'm looking at Harry Potter, Jurassic Park. Okay. So how do you compare? It's such a wide swath. How do you do that?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll take it. So whenever I go to review movies, I always go in with the same criteria. Number one is, did I have fun? Did I enjoy myself? So whether it's an Oscar movie, whether it's a series like Harry Potter or a fun comedy, I always just want to be entertained at the basic basis of going to the movie. That's my goal. Second of all, I review it on technicality. Like, was it shot well? Was it cinematically beautiful? Was the acting good? Was the writing good? So no matter if it's a comedy or Oscar,
bait movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think they all should be rated at the same core values. And then, once I do see an Oscar movie with maybe some A-list actors, like you had mentioned, or like a Quentin Tarantino movie, or something that should have some weight behind it, I'm going to be a little bit more critical because I expect more out of that.
Okay.
But at its core, they should all be reviewed the same, in my opinion.
My method is a little bit more precise, although it's very similar. If I go into an action film, for example, I want to be entertained. But if I go into a comedy, I want to laugh. If I go into a horror film, I want to be scared, so forth and so on. And with that mindset, I base my review off of what the genre offered me. So, like, if a horror film isn't scary, it doesn't have much to offer, maybe some good technicalities, but it doesn't exceed at its core value. If a comedy doesn't make me laugh, then what else is it? It's no longer a comedy.
So when you run into something like the Scream series, for example,
okay,
how does your brain categorize that? Because it's like brilliant, because it's part comedy, it's part horror, part action. I mean, where do when you...
Well, I view it as satire, and I love satire because it makes fun of a genre while also being the same genre at the same time. I love movies like that. Scream is a great example. The recent Shazam is kind of a satire of superhero movies, and I just love self-aware concepts. So on that level, I would base it off the fact of how good its satire is.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
How'd you guys get into Shazam early? How's that work?
You just have to know people.
I'm like, how did this happen? I'm like,
Bazinga.
Well, so
it's like 2 weeks early, and they were like, we're going to review Shazam. I'm like, that doesn't go.
No, oftentimes with some movies, especially movies that the studio wants to have some buzz about before because they know they have a good movie, they want to get some good press before that movie so that way it can drum up some excitement.
Right.
So they'll allow certain theaters to do pre-screenings. So Fandango had a deal where they just had tickets on sale for early screening. And to their favor, Shazam is a great movie, and they knew that, so they wanted people to see it, which led to their $57 million opening weekend this weekend.
I want you to be honest. Did you actually know about the early screening before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you got again 90-40. Okay, all right. So we're gonna switch our focus now. Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna take a look at Marvel. All right. So and I mentioned this to you when we did the review.
Yeah.
Okay. So my dad worked at a company called Danner Press in the 80s. My dad was a machinist, so machinists have a tendency to bounce around jobs. They're all over the place because they just do wherever the work takes them, right? But he was at Danner Press. It was the mid 80s. And one day he comes home with a copy of a book, and it's a bound book, comic book. And it's called The Death of Captain Marvel. So I have The Death of Captain Marvel at my house right now. It's worth some bucks, okay? And it was the storyline of the Kree version of the good guy, Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And it was about how his wristbands had kept him living a longer life, but at the same time, they had given him cancer, and he didn't know it, of course. So when he took his wristbands off, he started dying from cancer, all right? So it's literally the death of Captain Marvel, okay? So when we first went and saw that, I'm thinking, okay, well, how are they going to rebirth this character? And when they went with a lady version, it was incredible the way that they intermingled that, right? So there was a time, and this was 1999, all right? This is an old friend of mine. All right, he's one of those that this was back when we still had to fill out our brackets on paper, and we had to do our fantasy football calculations by getting a newspaper. Okay,
so I don't know anything about
that. This was before. All right, you just had a site that you plugged everything into. All right, but this was right around 2000, and he says to me, "You know what?" He goes, I usually don't do like stock market stuff, but he goes, "I hear that Marvel Comics has some things coming down the road." He's like, "What? You want to go in on some stock with me?" At that time, this was 2000. Marvel comic stock was $1.45 a share. Okay. That year, X-Men came out. X-Men #1. All right. Marvel has now split twice, and its split value is $55 a share in 2019. All right. He wanted to invest $1,000.
Did he invest in it?
I don't know if he did or not, because I'm not friends with him.
He missed out.
I'm not friends with him anymore. Okay. But the point is that I didn't. All right. And it's one of those, you don't have the foresight, right? But so X-Men was kind of like that Marvel pioneer that like cracked the seal and then.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So I asked you about the Marvel movie timeline. Okay.
Yes.
So first of all, before we even get into the first Marvel movie itself in this group, there's so much other stuff that Marvel and DC have offered.
Right.
And they were kind of like at war with each other. So let's just talk about that for a minute or two. Tell me about the war between Marvel and DC and how that all works.
Honestly, I just feel like it's such a stupid war. It's between the two biggest comic book companies ever, but one side always says, "Hey, I'm better than you," and "Oh no, I'm better than you."
And quite honestly, it's more the fans doing that,
right?
Because if Marvel does well, DC does well,
and vice versa.
And vice versa. If you're in a mood to see a good superhero movie, you don't really care if it's on one side or the other. You just have to explain to your mom and your grandparents who's a DC character and who's a Marvel character. Because my mom gets so confused.
Right.
She's watching right now, and she's probably...
She just said hi a little bit.
And she's...
Is that Annette?
Yeah, because we just watched Aquaman.
Okay.
She's like, so where does Iron Man fit in?
She just hearted you.
I was like, well, it doesn't.
Because it's DC.
Exactly.
Well, and before we even go on, let's just settle the debate right now so that the rest of the world just shuts up.
Okay.
Is Batman a superhero?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
He's one of the greatest superheroes of all time.
Okay. But he's a human. He doesn't have special powers.
No. I mean, technically,
he's got money.
Tony Stark doesn't either.
That's right. This is also true. All right. So talk about that, the timeline, right? So I went and I did the research for you guys because you asked me to bring it up. Okay. So here's what they came up with. So if you want to watch, let's say you're getting ready for Endgame, and we'll get to that part of the discussion. And you guys can chime in. Stop me at any time.
Okay.
All right. So the order you should watch the movies in. All right. First, they start with Captain America, the first Avenger. Takes place in what, the World War II in the 40s?
1943 to 1945.
Let's see, he's on it. All right. And then after that is Captain Marvel, which we figured after we discussed it was around 1995. 95, 96. Yeah. Okay. Then it's Iron Man and Iron Man 2 because they're sequential. Then it's the Incredible Hulk, which I'll stop there and I want to ask you guys, what is your take on the way the Hulk was handled over the last 15 years?
I think that when they first did the Incredible Hulk, they really didn't know what they were getting themselves into. I don't really think they had a full scope of the MCU that it would turn into 22 movies. That's the one with Edward Norton.
Correct.
And he did not want to sign on to a multi-movie deal, and he wanted creative control over the movies. So that was never going to work anyway because you can't.
But which one came first? Was it Ed Norton or Eric Bana?
No, Edward Norton.
Well, the Eric Bana one.
I thought the Eric Bana one was first,
but it's not.
But it was Marvel, but it wasn't linked into this.
It wasn't the MCU.
It was not.
No. Then the Ed Norton one happened.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one happened,
yes.
which was with the guy that plays it now. Who's that actor?
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. Yeah. Okay, so that's the current Incredible Hulk, which
yes.
this is the one they're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And that's why it's so confusing when people talk about the Hulk.
Right.
Because it's a mess.
Yeah, and I think it's because he's so strong that they kind of have to dumb down his powers a little bit. Like in a Infinity War, they had to make him a little bit. Hulk wasn't in that movie much.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in like the first 5 minutes.
Right.
And that's about it.
With any Hulk movie, you're looking at an overpowered character. So I think that, again, like I said at the beginning, I don't think they really knew how to handle that.
Okay. All right. So then they bring in Thor.
Yeah.
Then the Avengers, because that's the first time we get them all together. Okay. Then Thor: The Dark World, because we got to show Thor's fall, right? Then they put Guardians and Guardians 2 together.
Okay.
I was pretty sure that Captain America: Winter Soldier was after Thor: The Dark World. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
Or they might be taking place during the same time.
And it's right here. It's coming. So Iron Man 3 and Winter Soldier go simultaneously after that.
All right.
Right? Then we got Avengers: Age of Ultron, so continuing that theme. Then they bring in Ant-Man because they want to introduce Ant-Man, right? Okay. Then Civil War. Then Black Panther, got to bring in that new character, slide him in there. Then Spider-Man: Homecoming, got to bring in that new character. And again, that's where when you look at Spider-Man, just do you want to talk about a mess? I mean, I look at it from, how many are there? 4, 5, 6? And they're all over the place in terms of the direction they started with, the direction they went. And why does that happen? Is it because of the directors or the studios?
It's because Sony still owns Spider-Man.
Well, do they still?
They do.
Okay.
And in order to get Spider-Man in Civil War, which was his first appearance in the MCU, Sony had to loan Marvel Spider-Man for 3 appearances, which would be Civil War, Homecoming, and Infinity War. Now they've created a different contract agreement where it's more because they see how much money Spider-Man can make. But everything before that is like you have to retcon it from your mind because it has nothing to do with the MCU.
It's got nothing to do with this.
No, not at all. You got the Sam Raimi trilogy, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Which is arguably the best.
Is that Toby?
Yes. Tobey Maguire.
Toby. And then the next set was
The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
The other dude.
The worst.
Yeah, he was terrible.
Yeah.
What actor is that?
Exactly.
Tall,
Andrew Garfield.
Tall, skinny guy, brown hair. It was awful. But then that's why for us casual movie people,
it's very
we
confusing.
get extraordinarily confused.
Right.
Especially because we think, well, this is not Green. Wait a second.
Right.
The Green Goblin was William Dafoe, but now the Green Goblin is what's his name? And you're going, what? What's going on here?
They didn't do the fans service.
Okay.
With that.
All right. So then at that point, they put Panther in front of Doctor Strange. So then Doctor Strange gets brought in. Okay. And then Thor Ragnarok, and then you got to bring in the Wasp. Okay. To round off Ant-Man. And at that point, they've introduced everybody, and now you've got Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
All right. So what a heck of a...
I don't agree with this at all.
Okay.
I think that, and I may be alone in this, but I think you should watch them in the order that they were originally released.
Okay.
Because I think that shows the natural flow of the MCU and how it grows. I think with the end credit scenes, if you watch them out of order,
Right.
they don't match up at all.
Right.
And you rob yourself of those fun little surprises of seeing how they link.
Right.
And I don't agree with this at all.
Okay, I'm just telling you the way people.
Even the Russo brothers, who are the directors of the Infinity War and Endgame,
Right.
want you to watch them in chronological order.
Order of the year that they were made.
No, in the order of the
in
story.
the order of the story.
What?
In
This
this
one?
order.
Yeah,
Yes.
Captain
Really?
Marvel,
Yes.
Captain America, Captain Marvel.
Oh,
They
so they
suggest-
say if you're going to binge it, go do
They
this.
suggest this,
Yes.
and I don't agree with that.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
I don't know how you feel.
I mean, I agree with you definitely. The other way I personally would watch them is like in the order that I like them, starting personally with Iron Man 2, which is my least favorite MCU movie, but I would go along with what he said. Watch them in the order they were released.
Okay. All right. So, in terms of the way the series has developed, where are you guys on the direction that they've gone? What would be your favorite? Let's throw a curveball topic at you. What's your favorite movie of the group, and what's your least favorite movie of the group?
Okay, well, I mentioned that my least favorite was Iron Man 2, followed by Thor: The Dark World. But my favorite would probably be a tie between, or a three-way tie between The Winter Soldier, Infinity War, and the original Avengers. Because Marvel nowadays focuses primarily on characters and stories. That takes the front seat versus the action. Because if we don't get invested in the characters, then we don't care about the action.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, very similar. My favorite MCU movie is Captain America: Winter Soldier. I do have
Why for both of you?
Because
the
it's such a
storyline
different.
in that is a political thriller. It's something that we haven't seen with a superhero movie. There's a lot of twists in that movie. Captain America doesn't know who to trust. He doesn't know what's good, what's bad, and it sets up his story arc for Infinity War, where he drops the mantle of Captain America and becomes nomad because he only wants to trust himself. And I think that and that ties into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, with S.H.I.E.L.D. being infiltrated by Hydra, all that stuff. I just think it's a well encapsulated movie.
And you and I talked about that on our Marvel review in terms of the way they brought S.H.I.E.L.D. back into the play.
Yeah.
Because up until this point, S.H.I.E.L.D. hadn't been in any movie that I remember except in those ending credits.
They had mentioned it from
Where
time
they
to
would
time,
have
but
the
never
guy
been
walk
in
up
it.
to Thor's
Yeah.
hammer and it's the
Yeah.
dude from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Or they
you
had
know what I
like
mean?
Lady Sif cameo in
Right.
Agent, but it was
Okay.
very minimal.
Okay. Were you going to say something on that?
No.
Okay. All right. So here we are, right? So we're the series has now been completely developed. We're doing real good on time, so we got about 10 minutes left or so. So here we are to Endgame.
Yep.
Okay. Question one is, does Endgame end it? I mean,
Absolutely not.
where do they go? When I look at X-Men and the way that X-Men developed, and then you got to the point where Dark Phoenix blew up the world, and then Wolverine killed her, and then at that point they were like, we're out of storylines. We need to start doing origins. Okay, so we've already done most of the origins already for Marvel, right?
Right.
So number one, let's just talk Endgame for about 5 minutes, and then after that,
Just 5 minutes.
No.
well, you guys go, and I'll just sit and listen.
Okay, well, before we get into it, I do want to say that some of this may be considered spoilery, because we may be talking about leaked set photos.
Hold on, I got a button for that. Spoiler alert.
There might be some talk about leaked set photos, leaked scripts, some trailer things, some things that were shown to Disney execs that weren't shown to regular people. So if you don't want to know anything about Endgame, I would suggest just maybe watching this a little bit later.
Change the channel now.
Yeah.
Change the channel now.
So I do have a theory about how Endgame will go. I wrote it all down here. It's from
Too long.
how I feel it'll go from start to finish. I could go over that if we have time.
We got plenty of time.
So, okay, I'm just going to read it off here.
It's Acme's world. We're just living it.
And you tell me how you feel about this.
All right.
So first they go after Thanos right away in the first act of the
And
movie.
how do you say it? You say it
Thanos.
I say Thanos.
It doesn't matter.
Potato.
Yes.
All right, go on.
So they go after Thanos right away in the first act because they're mad. They want revenge right away. And they lose instantly. They then they escape and go back and regroup at Avengers HQ, which we've seen in the trailers. They find Nick Fury's pager after a year or so in the rubble of like New York, wherever he was. They knew where he dropped it in the end credit scene of Infinity War.
Yep.
And they work on it to try to call Captain Marvel, which we saw in a trailer at the end of Captain Marvel. Then at least 2 years pass. Tony and
Wow, you got this.
yeah, because in the trailers it looks like it's very there's a lot of run down. It's we see the Met Stadium has been overgrown by
Wow, you got this going
rotting.
time lapse. Okay.
Yeah.
Evan's shaking his head.
2 years.
No, not in a bad way. It's like, damn, this guy has too much time on his hands.
I know, I do. My girlfriend knows all about this. And Tony and Nebula come back and join the team. Ant-Man then returns as well, explains the quantum realm stuff. Tony helps build suits to travel back and forth in time with old versions of themselves. So Tony is interacting with younger Tony. They see how they interact with the Infinity Stones, and they stop themselves from, making changes to the Infinity Stones when they first encounter them. All those interactions actually weaken the Infinity Gauntlet in the real timeline because they're making changes in past timelines. Thanos gets upset. He gets mad. He goes and he fights them with a weakened gauntlet. The remaining Avengers are able to take the gauntlet off of Thanos at that time. Captain America then puts on the gauntlet, says Avengers assemble, and snaps. Now here we go. Because
We're talking like Ron Burgundy.
because Captain America is like wholesome and good,
Right.
the gauntlet reacts differently to him, and instead of killing, it brings them back.
That's really a stretch.
Wow.
I know it's a stretch,
Wait.
but
All right, so
that's where I'm
so
going.
all right, go ahead, Evan, go.
Well, up until the point where you mentioned Captain America, now I feel like. Oh wait, no, you said Captain Marvel, Captain America.
Captain America puts on the gauntlet.
Captain America. Okay. Up until that point, I was actually thinking, wow, I don't think it could go any other way. And like, I'm going to actually, now that I watch it, or when I do watch it, hopefully you guys got your tickets in time because good luck getting them now. But my point is that I'm going to reference back to what he's saying because I feel like that's exactly how it would go.
Just so you movie guys know, there is an opportunity to watch movies after opening week. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know.
I've never
Okay?
experienced that.
Us common folk, okay? Us common folk, we'll go a couple weeks later. It's okay,
No.
because we don't have to see it the moment it comes out.
I don't-
It was good with me and you with Marvel,
Yeah,
and I get that.
With these movies,
and Lord of the Rings, I was in opening night all
I
of
need to
them.
see
Okay.
them the minute they release because I don't want to know any spoilers.
People
Sure,
are
I get it.
people are jerks online. They will spoil anything for you.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. All right, keep going. This is good.
Oh.
What else?
Do you want us to just vent?
No, and at this point, we're talking Endgame.
Oh, okay, well-
And number one, Endgame itself, and
So
number
let's
two,
talk
what
about
happens after
let's talk
Endgame?
about Ant-Man going into Thanos. Have you heard that theory? There's a theory online, which may not be appropriate.
Talk. Go ahead.
But you know how
just worded
you know how
differently.
Thanos can, how Ant-Man can shrink.
Of course.
Okay, well, there's a theory that Ant-Man will shrink,
Right.
enter Thanos,
Okay.
and then expand.
Okay.
Now tell me that's not awesome.
To end it?
To end it. It'll be a 10-minute movie.
How did they?
I would love for that to be like a deleted scene.
I was gonna say that a deleted
Yeah.
scene would be great, but how do they do that and have it be PG?
Oh no, they don't.
They couldn't.
Yeah.
No.
So, all right. So, what else on Endgame? Last thoughts on Endgame, and then we'll move on past Endgame.
I think that this is our generation's Star Wars. The more I
Absolutely.
think about it, I think that whenever we saw the snap in Infinity War, that's equivalent to Darth Vader saying, "I am your father." I think we all had that "oh my gosh" feeling.
It really
that-
impacted everyone.
When people started disappearing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that the lead up to Endgame is probably the most anticipated movie of all time.
False.
Or at least of this generation.
False. False.
All right, what's better?
Who shot JR? They're all. Who shot JR? Dallas. Okay, guys, gentlemen, there was a time when we actually had to turn on TV and watch it live.
Yeah.
Like as it was happening. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't have your VCR set to record, it was gone. Okay. The Who Shot JR episode of Dallas was the most anticipated
Yeah, no.
of all time and most highly viewed and watched episode of television history of all time because you had to be sitting there, after your little orphan Annie Dakota ring pin was on the radio, right? And there you are, you're waiting, and you turn that TV on, and bam, okay? And I will I will say of this generation in terms of do it as a millennial group, maybe, but that each one of our groups has had this movie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For you guys, it's Endgame. For some of us, it was the end of Return of the Jedi. For each generation has had that movie.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
And I will also give you the props that I think social media has erupted this much bigger because social media didn't exist for all of this.
Right.
Okay, so I'll say I'm defending my generations.
No, I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
And honestly, at this point, with the amount of hype, with the amount of movies that Marvel has made, I feel like Endgame won't even live up to the hype. It's just too high at this point.
Here's the thing. Did you guys have I had foresight on this. And it was, I can't remember what we were watching. I think it was Guardians. So I look over, we're watching Guardians, and I look over at my kids. It was one of them in that time frame, and I go, they're getting ready to bring everybody together. It was before the Avengers. It was before all the stuff started to involve everybody.
Yeah.
And I go this, and I look at my oldest. My oldest is movie crazy, like we are, and I go, there's a bad guy. There's one bad guy that can bring them all together. And I said it was Thanos, and she's like, "Who the heck is Thanos?" Because this was like at the time where the bad guy
shows up in the end credit scene.
He showed up at the end credits, and I can't remember what it was. Was it Thor or Guardians?
I think it was Guardians.
I think it was Guardians, but it was it was a movie or two before that.
Because Ronan is in Guardians, and he goes to Thanos.
Right.
Yeah.
And then to see him back with the Kree in Marvel as young guy before he's like main bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Just the way that they weaved it together has been fantastic.
And that's why you should watch them in the order that they come out.
Right. And okay.
Agreed. I agree here.
He's like bazinga.
Bazinga.
All right. So the point being, I had that foresight because I've seen it happen with other movie groupings and other trilogies and other series. Like, for example, with Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter was very blatant in their direction, that first reveal of Lord Voldemort and then getting him to be Tom Riddle and going back and seeing him as a kid with Sirius and with all those, what's his name? The guy that died, Rickman. Who do you play? Snape. Thank you, Snape. Which many people will argue that the Harry Potter, everything was all about the story of Snape.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So point being,
the relationship with Snape and Lily is just...
So it's rare that I get one right like that, and I got that one right. And then I saw him sitting there on his throne, and I went, bam! And the kids were like, oh! So to see that all play out. So now where do we go? Endgame ends. As you say, everybody comes back alive, and Thanos is dead, allegedly, all right?
Takes another 20 minutes to set up the next bad guy.
But what's next after that? Where does Marvel go from here?
We go to space. Like, it goes to the Eternals and Galactus. And now that Marvel has access to all the Fox characters now, they can, whenever the snap brings people back, that could be their reason for introducing mutations and introducing the X-Men. There's a lot of really good possibilities there and a lot of really good villains that we haven't touched yet on. And I think that the new Spider-Man movie, I think that takes place before Endgame.
It's certainly a possibility.
Because I think that Spider-Man is still snapped. And being far from home means a lot more than just Europe. I think it means another dimension. So there's a lot of possibilities there.
When's that one coming out?
June.
Okay.
Or July.
Yeah,
right.
I know it's July.
So that brings us to our next topic.
Okay.
We got two topics that we're doing really good on time. What other movies? So we got, typically there's a docket, right? There's stuff coming out, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because I'm not that kind where I'm looking ahead. I'm the kind that looks behind.
Right.
You guys are always looking ahead. I'm the guy that me and the wife watch the Oscars and we go, okay, well, let's go watch all these winners. Like, okay, let's watch. I guess we got to watch The Shape of Water. And then we start watching Shape of Water and we're like, what the hell am I watching right now? And
a woman is screwing a fish.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
what it boils
right?
down to.
So the point is, though, we were doing good. All right, so the point is that I'm like always looking backwards.
Yeah.
I see the Oscars and I say, okay, well, I got to go watch all these. You guys are the kind that always look ahead, all right?
Yeah.
So as we look into summer, as we look into the fall, what are the movies of 2019 that people should be looking forward to going to see?
Well, how about you do? How about like 5 for you and 5 for me?
Yeah, if I can think of some, I think the number one for me, obviously, is Endgame. Moving past that, I think is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which we talked about a little bit before off camera, which is Quentin Tarantino's next movie. Anything with Quentin Tarantino is a must-see. I think, there's a Toy Story movie coming out. There is...
Four?
There's the live-action Aladdin.
Frozen 2.
Frozen 2.
To implant, like, probably the next worst song that parents are going to hate forever?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yes.
Let it go.
Just let it go.
But, yeah, I'm usually really good at what I want to see during the year coming up, but I've been so focused, as you can tell, on Endgame and looking at possible theories that I can't even get past that right now.
Okay.
Well, I can go ahead and name off 5 movies I'm really looking forward to. Some of them are independent, so if you haven't heard of them, that's probably why. I'm really looking forward to Rocket Man. Terrence Edgerton, I believe his name is.
Rocket Man is the Elton John story.
Yes.
It's almost like, hey, Queen,
Right.
Yeah,
Bohemian
Queen
Rhapsody
came out,
worked
let's
really
go do
well.
this.
Let's go this direction. Okay.
I'm
Except
also-
this guy's still alive.
I'm also looking forward to something called High Life, which is made by distributed by A24, which is supposed to be a very sci-fi thinking piece. I'm looking forward to Midsommar, which is the next Ari Aster film, which is directed by the guy who directed Hereditary. I'm also looking forward to Detective Pikachu because I love Pokemon.
Yes.
There's a bunch of other stuff. Joker in particular, we talked about this earlier. Joker is something that we are both really anticipating because that we finally have an opportunity to beat Heath Ledger as the best Joker.
See,
Arguably the best Joker.
I'm not.
I think he might get nominated for an Oscar.
But I'm not. Okay. All right. Keep going. You keep going. I'll write that note down. Go.
A couple others that I'm looking forward to. There's a couple of other horror films. The new Annabelle film, I suppose, I'm looking forward to. The live-action Lion King. Oh my gosh, I am looking forward to that quite a bit. The Toy Story that he mentioned. The live-action Aladdin. Looking even further down the year, Star Wars, of course. And I kind of want to see Frozen 2, I suppose.
They're doing a new Shaft as well. Have you
I
seen
do want
that?
to see that.
It looks fantastic.
Why?
And there's a new Men in Black
You can't
as
ask
well.
that.
Are there certain things that you agree should not be remade? Are you guys okay with remaking anything?
I'm okay with remaking anything because, for me, remakes don't taint the original. It's sequels that I have a problem with.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
I have the complete opposite opinion on that because there are some classics that you just shouldn't touch. Like, I will be pissed if they ever remake Jaws because you just can't top that. I would be pissed if they ever try to remake Jurassic Park. But there are other films that I feel like can't be remade, like the, well, not really remake, but the reimagining of It. I think that was justified because it could build upon it. It could be something different.
And to me, like, remaking a movie just doesn't do anything to the original to me. So it really doesn't do anything for me.
We got some comments coming in from the audience I want to touch on real quick. But first, let me talk about Joker. Okay.
Okay.
So I loved the original Batman Joker
Isn't that the animated or the live action?
with Jack.
Oh, okay.
Jack,
I love
Jack Nicholson?
Yes. I loved Jack. Hubba, hubba, hubba. Who do you trust? That
Yeah.
Jack.
You'll never top that.
But that's the whole point. Then we go with Heath, which he was that Heath, that Joker, which that was a whole different portrayal, right? But why remake it again? I don't get that.
Well,
Because the Joker, you got Joker options. If you go way back to the what's his name?
Adam West?
Adam West days. Hey, this is Batman. Okay. Then they got that Joker, which was that portrayal, right? Why remake that character specifically? And his character, from what I've seen in the trailers, looks extraordinarily similar to Heath's.
It looks like Cesar Romero to me.
well, here's the thing. Joker, to me personally, is one of my favorite villains of all time in any form of entertainment. And the Joker, to me, is a character that should be both terrifying and funny. And Jack Nicholson, he was funny and terrifying. Heath Ledger was funny and terrifying. Jared Leto was neither of those.
Oh, I forgot about Jared.
Yeah, everybody did.
God, what?
I think that also comes.
Forgot about Lito.
I think that also goes back to the fact that DC really doesn't know what they're doing with their movies.
They really don't.
They don't have a concrete force. Like, I don't even know how to word it. Like, you see,
universe.
Universe, yeah, exactly. The Marvel universe is a clear-cut 22 movies.
Because it's Stan.
Yeah, but it's also because of Kevin Feige and the producers of those movies.
Okay.
DC doesn't have anything. They don't even have a Batman. They don't have a Superman right now.
All right, so we're getting all over the place. We're going to go for a little longer, and that's okay. Before we get to the viewer questions,
Yeah.
Lake Anna, have you been there for
Yes.
Pokemon?
Yes, I have.
All right, so
I've caught many jinx there.
when Pokemon first came out, all right, I was working in Barbados. We would go and we would eat lunch, and just watch hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Oh my
hundreds.
gosh.
And that was during the day.
It was a phenomenon.
That was during the day. You went at night, there were thousands. And it was like there were fights because there were gyms on both corners, and people would get like in actual fights. Like Barber and police had to stay there over the
they
night.
still have to stay there.
It was crazy.
That's the most Barbaran thing I've ever heard.
It was. All right, so no. There's a lot worse. I can tell you a lot worse. All right, so Johnny Todd over here. He says, "Is Captain Marvel? You think that Captain Marvel will be the main focus of Endgame?"
I do not.
Ooh.
I
You
don't,
think it's
and I
gonna be
kind of
Captain
hope
America?
not, because it's more about the camaraderie of the Avengers, not the specific character.
I think it's going to be about the original 4 Avengers the most.
Okay.
Because this is their complete story arc.
What's with their white suits, by the way? What are those?
Quantum realm suits.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Those will allow them to go
It
into the
fits
quantum
into his
realm.
theory.
They can. Okay. All right. So they
Yes, we'll go to the quantum realm.
can. So, Kate Forrester over here has got a couple comments. She says because of all my kids, I don't do theaters anymore. I prefer to watch them at home, especially with little ones. All right.
I can understand that.
Yeah, that brings up a whole discussion.
Yeah,
It does.
So then she says family movie time at the theater means mommy spends 30% of her time in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And
This is accurate.
The
This is
kids miss
accurate.
the best part of the most important points of the movie. Then we got Johnny comes back at you with, I don't know if I see Phoenix portraying the Joker better than Ledger. Okay.
I don't either, but I think it'll be different.
All right.
Yeah, that's what matters. If it's
and then
different.
Johnny comes back again with what I said, and that is you can only portray the Joker so many ways. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Rachel Hudson, she says, I love that they're bringing back the original outfit. What was that?
Yeah, to a certain extent, it's leaning more towards the original Joker and Heath Ledger.
We're stuck on Joker with this?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. keep going.
I mean, so all the different interpretations have something different in quality. Like Heath Ledger is a bit more down to earth and not as comic booky. When Jack Nicholson is much more comic book oriented, more cartoony.
Yeah, Jared Leto's on PCP. Yeah.
Yes, and all the other drugs.
Well, what did you think? Is that part of Marvel, right?
What?
Joker's not Marvel.
No, was that DC? What's the Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Is that DC?
Yes.
Tell me about that movie.
They're remaking it.
What'd you think of Suicide Squad?
It wasn't good. It wasn't.
See, my kids love it.
I think it's okay for what it is.
Okay.
It's
Which
dumb
isn't.
popcorn.
Was it forced? It was forced.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
It was totally
very.
forced, especially by sticking Will Smith in the middle of the thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
and
why
him
would you
demanding
do
being the like he had things in his contract that demanded him to be the focus of that movie.
Yeah,
you don't
it's-
make Deadshot the focus of the movie.
It's just dumb, fun popcorn entertainment. Like I can see why someone enjoys it, but I personally don't like it.
now
that? Can I quote that from now on?
Yes, you can.
Say it again. Dumb, fun,
popcorn
entertainment.
yeah.
Which I'd say
You heard it here, folks.
If you heard it here first, and we'll as we launch later, we'll be using that term. So that could be the name of your show: Dumb, Fun, Popcorn Entertainment. So the point is, if you were to categorize movies,
Yeah.
Okay.
in terms of serious, fun, enjoyable versus dumb, fun, popcorn entertainment,
Yeah.
how do you break that down in let's say look at an average year?
I would say a good comparison of that would be any Fast and the Furious movie. Dumb, fun, popcorn entertainment.
Okay.
You just take your brain, you put it over here, and then you watch it and just don't take it seriously.
Let it sizzle and
Yes.
acid for a little while.
Yes.
Okay.
Other than that, I think, I have that. That's the basis of my rating. Like if I'm having fun watching the movie, I'm just enjoying it, eating popcorn,
Okay.
and not taking it seriously.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's basically there are some movies that you can take seriously, like a Christopher Nolan film or a Quentin Tarantino movie. You can appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into it, along with anything else that happened inside of it.
Now, last question before I get your final thoughts.
Okay.
Do you buy candy there, or do you sneak it in your pocket?
Absolutely. I sneak it in all the time.
I don't remember the last time I bought candy. I'll buy a drink, but I'll take candy in all day.
I'll buy the big popcorn to share with the 2-drink combo, or even one drink, and you just get the 2 straws because the drinks.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But I mean, my kids walk in with Swedish Fish and,
Oh, yeah.
and Reese's Pieces that they go to Walmart for $1.
Exactly.
And then just walk in, right?
Well, there are times when where a whole bunch of new releases are coming out. I'm like, screw it, I'll just go see 3 movies in a row. Yes, I have done that before. I'll buy a giant tub of popcorn, so then I'm able to like get the refill. Yes.
You'll go to like
3 movies
in a day at the same place.
Yeah, this has happened before.
Do you at least stagger out your reviews? You don't dump all that on everybody all at once, do you? We need to talk.
Yeah, he does.
We need to talk.
I have the system
We need
where,
to talk, man. You got to slow drip. You got to make people want more.
Well, here's the thing. Well, my system is that once a week I post my reviews that I see that week.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how many movies I do see, although I try to keep it at 2 at the very most.
It is a page, right?
Yes, it is a page.
You do know. I need to teach you how to schedule. You can schedule
It is
a post.
scheduled,
No.
kind of.
What you do is you have them drip. Because if you release all that content all at once, people just go, it's just too much. So if you do it like I'd say Monday,
Wednesday, Friday.
And that way you
have them
schedule.
scheduled
You
to
literally
drop at,
can
like, 1.
schedule it, and I'll teach you how to do that. He's looking at me. He's
No,
like,
it's
no.
gonna grow.
He's like, you're messing with my style. He's like, this is my
What's
thing.
really cool though, and I wanted to comment on this, is the pictures that he posts with the reviews with like the little like number scores that match the.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
No.
It looks awesome.
Okay, I'll check it out. We got another comment here. Johnny's asking it. Does anybody know, has Endgame broken any records for pre-sale?
All of them.
All of them.
Okay, and it's internationally, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so there's your answer, Johnny. Yeah, they are shattering records.
In like just a few hours.
But is part of that the cost based on over the years, or just the movie itself?
Well,
Or both?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
Inflation's definitely part of it, but
Because I remember the Titanic days. Titanic shattered everything,
And then Avatar shattered everything.
and then Avatar shattered
But
everything.
technically, due to inflation, the highest grossing movie is Gone with the Wind, actually.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which if they remake that, I'll
Oh,
be mad.
no.
See what I mean? See what I mean? You don't want to remake it Gone with the Wind.
I wouldn't. I mean, I
Take
don't.
it from 4 hours to 2.5.
There you go.
All right. So, all right, guys, let's close it down. What are your final thoughts?
Get ready to see Endgame. It comes out in just a few weeks. Hope you're there opening night and have a lot of fun and cry your heart out.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk movies. Hopefully, this branches out and we can do this more often.
Absolutely. I would love to do that.
And thank you for everyone who's watched and commented. Appreciate all of the support with these.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on, guys. And again,
It was a ton of fun.
well, it makes me feel, I feel like a, what's the right word?
Simpleton?
Not a simpleton. No, because I know stuff. He said
I'm sorry.
simpleton.
I
Hold on.
had to.
Hold on. We're fighting on that one. It's this one right here.
I'm
All
sorry.
right.
I was going to press fatality.
Or the fatality. Yeah, okay. Fatality. He executed me on that. All right. So, point being, thank you guys so much. This has been great. I love bringing you on. Your knowledge is so much more than mine. And I had talked to you guys off cam beforehand. I'd love to explore the option of possibly doing this as a once a month, but not necessarily as 3-3 to go, but more as your own platform. The chemistry you guys have is great, and you both are very well versed and very articulate in your opinions, and I appreciate that. So, based on how this goes, we're going to look at that moving forward, okay? And I'm going to put some boost numbers on it, and I'm going to get this thing going bigger than it was, whatever. A lot of people were tuning in and commenting. Somebody said, "Your one guy is totally off camera. I can't see the top of his head." Well, we don't need. It's okay. All right. So next week I got a big one for me. I got a triple header. It's going to be weird. So on Friday night, the local library around the corner from here, Northwest Akron Library, they're doing a teen Fortnite live night with Nerf guns.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're literally going to be playing Fortnite with Nerf guns in the library.
How do they shrink the zone?
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Is this like a group of people that
So
are
my
holding
son,
hands?
my son,
Like us?
my son has been invited to play. So I am going to go and I'm going to for sure cover that, and I'm going to make sure that he is armed.
Are they selling slurp juice?
Oh my god!
I don't know what's going on, but
Chug jugs?
I haven't looked into it yet, but I'm going to make sure he's got his Mega, which
Yeah.
shoots, a long way, and it's a 6-shooter with the clip and the whole deal. So I've already reattached that so it'll go on his back, and then we've got his automatic Nerf with the 50-shot with the automated battery power.
man.
So he'll be ready to go.
Hook him up with a GoPro.
Yeah, so he's running around here. So that's Friday. We're going to cover that as 3-through. Then on Saturday, of all places, we're going to the Hudson Haunted House for an Easter egg hunt.
Oh.
They do an Easter egg hunt, and I think it's both inside and outside of the haunted house itself. So the Hudson JCs, they use the facility, more than once a year. So I'm going to be covering that event live. They've invited me to stop in over there. Okay. So, those will be fun for me because I'm going live, I'm covering stuff, and I'm also incorporating my family with it. So that'll be great.
Yeah.
Then on Sunday is our next show. And that is, we're going down to the Canton area. We're going to be with Joy Mitchell, and she's one of our favorites. She owns the Rockstar Rock Shop, which is like a crystal shop. And she talks about all that kind of stuff if you're into that. I had her, if you remember, when I did my Halloween episode. Joy was in the truck with me as we were touring Boston and the whole Helltown and debunking all that.
Oh, I can't do that. I have a story about that.
Okay.
Probably for another time.
All right. It was fantastic. So Joy was with us, so we're going to be joining Joy down at her shop. But folks, thanks again to these two guys. I really appreciate it. Big round of applause for them. Until then, I don't know where I'm going, but there ain't no sense in being late. Guys, join me. Say goodnight, Shirley.
Night, Shirley.
Good night, Shirley.
This podcast is a copyright of Moon Garden Media Limited.
Oh, this a lot of peanut butter.